I recycle regularly. I recycle regularly.
I reduce my carbon footprint. I reduce my carbon footprint.
I support renewable energy sources. I support renewable energy sources.
I practice sustainable living. I practice sustainable living.
I conserve water every day. I conserve water every day. I use eco-friendly products. I use eco-friendly products. I plant trees in my community. I plant trees in my community. I participate in environmental cleanups. I participate in environmental cleanups. I support local organic farming. I support local organic farming. I reduce waste by reusing items. I reduce waste by reusing items. I prefer public transportation. I prefer public transportation. I minimize single-use plastics. I minimize single-use plastics. I support sustainable agriculture. I support sustainable agriculture. I advocate for green energy. I advocate for green energy. I conserve energy by turning off lights. I conserve energy by turning off lights. I use energy-efficient appliances. I use energy-efficient appliances. I support initiatives for clean air. I support initiatives for clean air. I educate others about environmental issues. I educate others about environmental issues. I volunteer for environmental organizations. I volunteer for environmental organizations. I support wildlife conservation. I support wildlife conservation. I promote recycling in my neighborhood. I promote recycling in my neighborhood. I participate in community garden projects. I participate in community garden projects. I reduce food waste. I reduce food waste. I use reusable bags. I use reusable bags. I support sustainable fashion. I support sustainable fashion. I embrace a minimalist lifestyle. I embrace a minimalist lifestyle. I practice eco-friendly commuting. I practice eco-friendly commuting. I conserve natural resources. I conserve natural resources.
I support water conservation programs. I support water conservation programs.
I reduce paper waste. I reduce paper waste.
I use digital documents instead of paper. I use digital documents instead of paper.
I support local eco-friendly businesses. I support local eco-friendly businesses.
I advocate for sustainable transportation. I advocate for sustainable transportation.
I participate in tree planting events. I participate in tree planting events. I support renewable energy projects. I support renewable energy projects.
I minimize energy consumption. I minimize energy consumption.
I encourage others to recycle. I encourage others to recycle.
I support environmental education. I support environmental education.
I use a reusable water bottle. I use a reusable water bottle.
I conserve energy in my home. I conserve energy in my home.
I participate in climate change awareness events. I participate in climate change awareness events.
I support green building practices. I support green building practices.
I reduce my use of fossil fuels. I reduce my use of fossil fuels.
I support community solar initiatives. I support community solar initiatives.
I minimize energy waste. I minimize energy waste.
I embrace sustainable technology. I embrace sustainable technology.
I help promote environmental policies. I help promote environmental policies.
I use natural cleaning products. I use natural cleaning products.
I support wildlife protection efforts. I support wildlife protection efforts.
I participate in eco-friendly lifestyle challenges. I participate in eco-friendly lifestyle challenges.
I advocate for responsible consumption. I advocate for responsible consumption.
I support environmental research. I support environmental research.
I join community recycling programs. I join community recycling programs.
I practice energy conservation habits. I practice energy conservation habits.
I support the use of public transport. I support the use of public transport. I encourage sustainable habits among friends. I encourage sustainable habits among friends. I support conservation projects. I support conservation projects. I use eco-friendly transportation options. I use eco-friendly transportation options. I educate my family about recycling. I educate my family about recycling. I support environmental justice initiatives. I support environmental justice initiatives. I use energy-saving light bulbs. I use energy-saving light bulbs. I advocate for greener cities. I advocate for greener cities. I support local environmental initiatives. I support local environmental initiatives. I participate in sustainable community projects. I participate in sustainable community projects. I reduce my overall consumption. I reduce my overall consumption. I promote eco-friendly habits. I promote eco-friendly habits. I support zero-waste lifestyles. I support zero-waste lifestyles. I use sustainable materials. I use sustainable materials. I advocate for water-saving techniques. I advocate for water-saving techniques. I support energy efficiency programs. I support energy efficiency programs. I participate in local environmental activism. I participate in local environmental activism. I help spread awareness about climate change. I help spread awareness about climate change. I support recycling programs in schools. I support recycling programs in schools. I choose sustainable food options. I choose sustainable food options. I reduce my use of disposable items. I reduce my use of disposable items. I support eco-friendly innovations. I support eco-friendly innovations. I encourage others to use renewable energy. I encourage others to use renewable energy. I participate in community green initiatives. I participate in community green initiatives.
I support environmental conservation efforts. I support environmental conservation efforts.
I reduce my waste through careful consumption. I reduce my waste through careful consumption.
I advocate for sustainable resource management. I advocate for sustainable resource management.
I use public transportation whenever possible. I use public transportation whenever possible.
I support efforts to protect natural habitats. I support efforts to protect natural habitats.
I participate in community environmental workshops. I participate in community environmental workshops. I support green technology advancements. I support green technology advancements.
I reduce my reliance on non-renewable resources. I reduce my reliance on non-renewable resources.
I use reusable containers for food storage. I use reusable containers for food storage.
I promote a sustainable future. I promote a sustainable future.
I support policies that protect the environment. I support policies that protect the environment.
I reduce energy waste by unplugging devices. I reduce energy waste by unplugging devices.
I use eco-friendly personal care products. I use eco-friendly personal care products.
I support community initiatives for sustainability. I support community initiatives for sustainability.
I engage in discussions about environmental protection. I engage in discussions about environmental protection.
I encourage a sustainable lifestyle at home. I encourage a sustainable lifestyle at home.
I support global efforts to combat climate change. I support global efforts to combat climate change.
I reduce my carbon emissions daily. I reduce my carbon emissions daily.
I choose eco-friendly transportation options. I choose eco-friendly transportation options.
I advocate for sustainable waste management. I advocate for sustainable waste management.
I support clean energy innovations. I support clean energy innovations.
I am committed to protecting our planet. I am committed to protecting our planet.